We're talking about the hottest release since March, New Mutants. It sat on the Disney shelf for 2 years.
And I understand completely why they did not want this movie.
It was supposed to release, I believe, like
2018.
Yeah, but then the Disney-Fox merger happened, and so it got pushed back. Then they wanted to do reshoots, so it got pushed back.
No, okay.
Let me tell you, the reshoots did.
At first, I thought it was way better than it was. I thought it was mostly just delayed because Disney. I did a deep dive on this in theology class when I was supposed to be doing homework. This film has a layered history. All right, so it started off the director of The Fault in Our Stars, and I believe like his friend.
It's probably John Green.
Sorry, the director.
Yeah, I know.
Of the movie version. Well, they threw together a pitch to Fox as like a teen horror film of the New Mutants, right? Fox goes, "This is cool. Make this." They start doing production. They start shooting the movie. About halfway through shooting, Fox goes, "Never mind. Make this a teen comedy adventure film." So they had to switch last minute.
It was not a teen comedy.
No.
There was no comedy in this movie.
But then, but then the director was like, "But I want to make a horror film," and Fox was like, "No, it's a horror film." Then they threw the trailer together and they made it look like a horror film, and everyone liked that.
Oh,
so then,
no. Stan Lee wrote half the script.
He did?
Yeah, he co-wrote it with the director.
That's so unfortunate. His legacy.
Fox finalized the deal to have Boone direct the New Mutants from a script written by himself and Lee.
According
with
to
Kinberg, Lawrence, Schuler,
to what?
Wikipedia.
That's so sad.
Well, no, Stanley probably didn't write them.
There were
so
multiple
probably
versions
just,
of the script.
Yeah, this was probably an early version of it.
But originally it was supposed to be way more connected with the X-Men movies.
Yeah, it was supposed to take place 3 years after.
Professor X was supposed to be in it. Storm was in it at a point. Disney at one point was like, the reason they took that stuff out originally was to like make it stand on its own.
We didn't see.
And
a
then
writer
later on they took out. Later on,
a different script.
Later on, they took out more of the X-Men related stuff because Disney was like, "Well, maybe we want to work this in."
The reason why they took out any X-Men related stuff is because Disney's planning on rebooting that franchise, and they didn't want this to take its name.
No. Also, they were like, "If this is good, then maybe we could say it's in that universe."
Because that's why they threw the word mutants in there.
Yeah.
In the actual film we saw, there was no Stan Lee writer credit, so he was a producer, but.
The script that he helped write is not the one they ended up using.
It went through multiple troubles. Eventually, at a point, they were like, so it was delayed the first time because it was too close to Deadpool 2. So they moved it to the beginning of 2019 to give it room. But then Dark Phoenix had to be delayed to there, so they had to move it again to later on that year. Then Dark Phoenix had to be delayed again, which means it had to move again off the schedule. Then Disney bought Fox, and then it was just like buried somewhere in a field.
They buried it with all the ET copies.
But it finally came out this year because Disney's just been trying to dump all the rest of the Fox stuff they have.
They're just trying to get rid of all the stuff Fox was working on so they can start making new stuff.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you look at the past 2 years of releases, every movie that Fox had was a terrible flop.
Unless it was.
They were all bad, and they were all made no money.
That's because they were all just shoved out so Disney could finish.
Well, no, it was like
studio
it was
doing.
Dark Phoenix, which everyone hated.
Yeah,
it was The Art of Racing in the Rain. Who cares?
I don't even remember that.
The movie Underwater, starring.
Oh no, I heard. Yeah, that was bad.
What was that one?
That came out this year. That was the one where they go underwater and.
Was that the one with that shaved head girl? Yeah.
What was it? A prequel to the one
it was
movie
just
about the fish guy?
No, it's just a movie. I'm saying in general the movies. They don't have to be directly.
No. What was that one movie?
Shape of Water.
No, not Shape of Water.
Shush.
No, I'm not talking about that movie. I'm talking about the one from like the 90s with the mutant fish man who's like the only fish guy and all the humans hated him because he was like he could survive underwater.
Zat. Play a clip of Zat here.
No, Waterworld. Remember Waterworld?
This was a dream.
Okay,
no, it's a movie. I'll show you.
It's a real thing.
It's a real movie.
It is not related to that. I'm just saying.
It's the secret prequel to Waterworld.
Yeah, everything Fox had was It's terrible.
Let's just get into
Every little
let's
They
get
had
into
the
a plot.
Simpsons.
Or-
which
Yeah.
is
Yeah,
good.
Sam,
let's summarize the plot.
Tell us what.
So
tell us what the
basically,
story is.
here's how the movie goes. There's this Native American girl living on a reservation with her dad, her mom alive, not, who knows, who cares, they don't talk about it. Then her little village explodes for unknown reasons that were definitely not her, that she definitely did not cause. Then she wakes up in a hospital and is greeted by a doctor who is definitely not evil and definitely not working for an evil organization.
Don't tell them. Don't do spoilers. We'll do spoilers next.
No, this is spoilers.
In case you no.
Spoiler!
It's
Alright.
for no one's gonna see.
Alright,
this
yeah.
movie. Doesn't
There's
matter.
like 10
Just-
people
okay, just tell-
watching
okay.
this.
Let me finish
No,
summarizing.
okay. Before
stuff.
we get to spoilers, just say, would you recommend you see it or not?
No. Obviously not.
No. Okay, now it's spoilers. Continue.
Okay. Anyways.
Why did we need it?
Where was I? Right, she's greeted by a doctor. Doctor like, oh, you're very special. You're gonna be going to my school for special kids. And then, so she throws her into a padded cell, and he's like, well, it's not really a padded cell. It's like a cement block. But you know what I mean.
Necessary.
Then she meets a cast of quirky characters who all have the same origin story of accidentally killed person. Now I'm in this school. One of them has the power of plot convenience. One of them has the power to shoot forward really fast. One of them has the power to set himself on fire. One has the power to turn into a wolf.
One's got sword.
No, but that's the first one, the one for
Who-
plot
what?
convenience.
Oh, and then the main. Well, I'll get into the main girl in a minute. Were there any other characters? Or was that it?
that was it.
Okay.
Was it?
No,
There were
what
supposed to be
happens
others,
after
but they
that?
were cut out.
After that, they're like, the main girl tries to kill herself, but the wolf girl's like, hey, don't kill yourself. And she's like, you're right, I'm not gonna kill myself. Then they almost
fall
kiss
in
but
love.
don't. Then they go into the attic and play with a lie detector,
As you do.
and that's...
No, wait, that's after the shower scene of two teen girls.
Alright, there's
getting to know
also...
each
Yeah.
other.
There's just like a bunch of shower scenes between like the two main...
One of which is an
females.
allusion to Psycho, the Alfred Hitchcock film.
Yeah, so, I mean... It's just really weird because the characters are supposed to be 16, so it just feels really creepy
It's
watching
really
those scenes.
weird.
And it's not, you feel very uncomfortable. And not in like a horror movie type way, like, am I going to go to jail for watching this type way?
Is it bad that I paid to see this?
And, let's see, after that they play in the attic with a lie detector that was in
To the
attic.
important bits.
Okay, I don't even know, I don't know what this
There
really
aren't
was.
any important bits.
I know, but I just like
Then
just finish
that's
your
where
summary so we can get to
That's
the
where they have their Breakfast Club moment where they're like, my tragic backstory is this, and my life sucks for these reasons.
And I killed
My
this
daddy
person.
gave me these coat because I was working.
Oh,
My dad gave me a lump of coal. And
What
I
happens
killed him.
after that? Then they drug the doctor, and they
Have a party.
start making out. Then
They do the scene.
Then the doctor wakes up and pokes the one that can catch on fire into a swimming pool, and he evaporates the swimming pool.
That was the best scene in the entire movie.
That was the best scene in the movie. Everyone laughed.
Oh, when he got pushed into the
Yeah.
pool.
Yeah, where she just grabs a broom, which is just sitting on the pool deck. Just goes,
Then the
Why
one.
do they have a pool?
Then the one blonde girl who has the
Wait,
power
wait.
of plot convenience starts spawning random demon monsters out of nowhere. Because it turns out that the Native American girl's secret power
so
is to make your nightmares real, and her nightmares are generic.
Alright, the main
movie
thing
monsters.
about
Let me
this-
finish my plot summary.
oh my god, it's taking
Shut
forever.
up. We're stretching this out.
So they're fighting the faceless monster dudes. Then a big bear attacks. The doctor gets eaten by a bear. The doctor gets dead. Then the main character wakes up, tells the bear to stop attacking them. It goes away. Movie over.
She's literally like, no,
She goes-
that's the line.
Not even with that much. Not even with that much. She's just like, no,
That's the
bad bear.
Okay.
Stick.
Oh,
I'm
and she
in
took off
charge.
the necklace. Okay.
You know a movie is
She took off the
bad.
necklace.
You know a movie is bad when the audience is laughing at it. Because, okay, here's the thing about your general movie-going audience. They are idiots. They think everything is amazing. We went to see Cats in theaters. People liked it.
People clapped at the end of the movie.
They thought it was good.
Someone clapped.
This movie was so terrible that the entire audience was laughing at it the
movie.
whole
I mean,
No,
granted,
no.
the whole audience was like maybe 10 people.
It was the most laughter I've ever heard in a supposed horror movie.
Yeah.
Is this
That is
better
okay.
than
That is my
average
biggest flaw
or
with this.
below?
It was advertised as a horror movie,
And it isn't.
it is not a horror movie.
It's like kind
There,
of gory.
if you've
There's
ever
blood,
seen the
I guess.
2017 It movie, it kind of works like that, where it's mostly like a dark kids comedy, and occasionally a guy goes off on his own and gets spooked, and then
There were no jokes in this
every
movie.
every scary scene is just kid is sitting by himself. He sees something creepy.
Yeah.
He goes,
screams,
"Oh no!" and that's
he
it.
screams, and then we cut away.
Yeah.
And sometimes they'll do it right after each other. They'll do that, and then they'll just cut to someone else doing
Let
that,
me
and
tell
then just
you.
cut to someone else doing that.
There are no moments in this movie you will be like, oh,
If you're
that was
looking
a
for
little
times,
scary.
Yeah.
if you're looking for times to go to the bathroom, the entire first 2 hours.
So if
No,
entire
the entire
film.
movie.
Really? Okay, if you want to, like, on real talk, if you want to go to the bathroom during the movie, just go into the bathroom at the very beginning,
You left her
and
in
then
the
just come out,
climax.
just come out, like,
The movie was
2
so
hours
bad,
later.
Sam went to the bathroom during the climax.
Well, yeah, I just had to go to the bathroom, and I was like, okay, this is boring. I'm just gonna go to the bathroom now.
I was like, Sam,
That's
wait,
what
this is the
did that during
Did the
class.
dragon die? Because I came back, the dragon was
dragon?
gone. The dragon.
No,
They couldn't afford
the baby
the
dragon.
the baby.
No,
Okay.
it lives in the other dimension.
That's an interesting part. The reason that dragon is so cartoony and looks so much different from every other effect in the film, it was done like this year. Like
That was the last
the
thing they
movie,
did.
the movie wasn't finished. It had been sitting unfinished on the shelf.
Yeah, it was
for
filmed
a year.
in like 2017.
It was filmed in 2017. They never finished it. They never did any reshoots for it. This is the original intended cut, which was super shocking to me because there are so many scenes in this film that feel like something they did in like 5 minutes where they were just like, we need to film this and then we need to go.
It, honest to God, feels like it was written and directed by Tommy Wiseau.
Yes.
The characters will walk in and be like,
The main-
oh, hi, okay, I'm this person and I do this thing.
There are good actors in this movie.
The actors are fine.
The only one I think who was not an actual good actor was the main one.
Yeah,
Always.
she
She
struggled
was
with-
a block of wood.
She didn't emote it. Well, I mean, and again, partially it's because of the direction, and she probably wasn't told what to do
None
very
of the
well.
actors are at their best, mostly because the direction is poor. But I think I don't think she's very
The
good.
biggest example, in my opinion, of her, like, the failure of her acting in a movie is when the doctor is literally straight up telling her, I'm about to kill you the same way I killed
And
my
she just
dog.
lies there.
And she just sits there and doesn't even move. She's just like,
She
yeah,
waits for Wolf Girl to come
Okay.
in and rip up the doctor's
yeah, to
face.
start moving.
So doctors have to put people down.
Yeah, like
so-
she does not scream until the needle
Until the
is
doctor-
already being put into her.
The doctor's like injecting the poison into the IV thing.
They're like,
then
you're not
she
gonna
starts
do it.
moving.
She's just sitting there like, no, you're not. You're not gonna get away with this.
So for this definitely not suspicious test, I locked you down completely, and
I strapped you to this table and I'm gassing you and I'm injecting you with poison.
And I'm giving you the speech about putting animals down.
My
But
mom
you know,
was a
just
vet.
lie there. It's
Don't
fine.
worry about it. It's okay.
Okay, doctor, you're the boss.
I got a degree in veterinary. I'm actually
Like, the
not
other
a
actors
real
are right.
doctor.
The magic character, I think, could have worked fine if she was in like
Okay.
any other Marvel
I
movie.
wish. Okay, I wish that character was in another movie.
Yeah, I
I
wish
wish
she was in like
any of the other X-Men movies.
if
She
she
made
was in
no
like
sense.
Days of Future Past, she would have been really cool.
She's the only interesting or likable character.
Yeah.
She's the only character that feels like an X-Men
I
character.
like Blast Off Man.
The Blastoff guy was alright, but he
He's
was just
fine.
like
That was
dumb.
it.
He's underdeveloped.
He didn't have a purpose.
Him and Fireboy were underdeveloped.
Yeah, Fire.
Yeah, they were just
Fireboy just does dishes for the whole movie.
Every scene either starts with him doing dishes or like
doing
just
laundry.
like yeah,
Also-
he's always doing some kind of chore.
why does he have like a phone and no one else has a phone?
Yeah, he's also the only one with connection to the outside world, and the doctor just doesn't really seem to care.
Also,
Also
he has a
for
flip phone, but it supposedly takes place
Oh wait,
in
2017.
Are we gonna tell them what like they're preparing these kids for? Because so the kids
It's
think that
on.
they're gonna be like
So,
X-Men.
if
but-
you watched X-Men Apocalypse, I believe Wolverine, and I've been like probably Logan.
No,
Throughout-
Logan was about the reverse.
Throughout the X-Men movies, they had been teasing Mr. Sinister, who was a longtime X-Men villain. He was very big in the comics. He's about up there with Magneto in terms of like consistent
villain
big villain
level,
for
yeah.
X-Men to fight. They kept teasing him throughout the movies. This was made back when the original plan was to do him at some point. They just
Because New Mutants was supposed to be it was pitched as a trilogy.
that guy who wrote and directed First Class pitched to Fox like this big overarching plot line with Mr. Sinister, and they were going to cross over the Fantastic Four and all this. And Fox was just like, another Dark Phoenix saga. that's what we want, and they basically just told them to leave. So there's always little remnants throughout there where they're like, Essex Corporation, look, the Essex Corporation, it's bad.
Look, it's the logo.
And once again, it goes nowhere because they were all
It was just on the
canceled.
doctor's computer, like in one scene.
Yeah.
You just see it.
My
Also-
superior.
Also, the whole
Yeah, I knew it, the moment she said my superior, I was like, oh, was supposed to be on
Yeah.
Mr. Sinister tease.
Also, the whole
I said it like 10 minutes in, I was like, yeah, Mr. Sinister.
Is
and
the villain.
And then an hour into the movie, they show the logo, and I'm like, yep, I was right. It was the movie was very special in the way where I could predict everything that was happening, and I also
the time.
couldn't. The entire first 2 acts, I could predict it because nothing happens.
There's literally nothing going on.
Nothing goes on. They just sit around this big.
It's literally
empty
like
school.
Breakfast Club.
it's like if
No,
they
no, no.
filmed a movie.
At least in Breakfast Club, they're doing like character banter. In this,
Well, they have character banter, they just don't talk about
in
it.
this, they just sit around by themselves and just do nothing. And then they'll occasionally see a spooky vision, and then it just ends, and then
Yeah.
they just go to the next person.
It's like if it was a separate movie, but in between
It
when
feel-
all the exciting things
It
happen.
feels like a series of YouTube short films that they cut together and
Yeah.
release theatrically.
Well, it feels like there was a horror movie in there somewhere, and they just copied and pasted over like a slice of life film into it.
If it feels like anything, it feels like a student film that a studio bought the rights to and then slapped an action movie onto the end.
Yeah.
That
Also-
ending was
ending
so
of
stupid.
this film.
It was really bad.
Is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in my entire life.
When you're fighting this huge CGI bear and you just go up, you're like, no, and then so she created this bear, right? And then once they defeat the bear, then everyone's like, you saved us, even though you nearly killed all of us.
Actually, you caused
That was
all of our
that was my
problems.
favorite part. Okay, so at the end of the movie, they're like, the main character's like, guys, you saved me. Because at this point, they've defeated the main bad guy. They've broken out of the school. They're like, you saved me. And they're like, no, you saved us.
I
I
literally
audibly
said
went,
that.
I said out loud, I was like, you nearly murdered them multiple times, and they could have escaped this school at any moment. They just had to try.
You would have
Yeah.
been better off.
No, the freaking the teleporting girl who we know can pull people into her other dimension because we see her do it in that one scene could have just left the school at any
Or,
time.
No.
or any of them could have
Okay.
just killed Reyes
At
and
the,
escaped.
at the very end, they're like, we gotta kill Reyes and get out of here. And they're all just like, yep, we're gonna kill her. And I was like, if you had no problem with just murdering her, why did you not
Do
murder
that
her
like a year ago.
like years ago? Because,
Because all the other students have been there for at least a year.
okay, no, I want to talk about this for a minute. So earlier on in the movie, so they can like run around without her looking through all the security cameras, they drug her and they make her fall asleep. But they do not show her asleep until later on in the movie when they do it later. What they show is the camera's still watching them. So in my mind, I was going, okay, they think that she's drugged and asleep, but she's actually still watching them and like seeing
But
them.
no, she was just
Seeing them in
asleep.
her. She was actually asleep.
She was
So
just
I was
asleep
like,
for the movie.
why don't you just drug her and then go out behind her when she's asleep and just stab
And
her?
that scene went on for like 20 minutes before she was
Yeah.
asleep.
Also, apparently she can keep like the force field up while she's
Yeah, while
sleeping.
she's unconscious, she can still use her powers.
She's not
And
a
when,
thing.
when she's like freaking dying out, bleeding,
She's still keeping her.
Yeah.
and it's
She's
not a
bleeding
small
out
force
on the
field.
floor, and she's like, "I gotta keep the force field up."
Like, that's so dumb.
But okay. The third act.
Why does the wolf girl always turn to a half wolf? It's such a turn.
Because the normal wolf was too expensive, and also it looked dumber.
It,
Yeah, it
yeah,
did.
like it
No,
was.
they
No,
did.
but-
They did it because this way she could like hop on their necks and scratch them.
No,
Yeah.
it's because her
If
face
she
is
was
valuable.
that.
It's because her face is valuable.
Also,
if she was a wolf for half the movie, you couldn't show
If
it.
she was a full, well, that'd also be way more expensive.
Yeah.
But if she was a full wolf, it would literally be like a wolf falling out of the ceiling. and going,
But like a person getting mauled by a wolf would be a lot more like visually
Also,
interesting
no,
than her just
they
like,
do that with animal
screech,
powers a
screech.
lot in these action films because if they don't want to show, like, because if they knock them off and it flies across the room, like, because they get hit.
Yeah.
We've got
They don't want to show a dog getting
Yeah.
punched in the face and falling
It's
off.
fine. The dog can just get back up. It's fine.
We've got to talk about the evil.
How was that worse than a girl getting thrown across the room?
Because it's fine. It's she's got animal powers.
Okay, we've got to talk about the evil Catholic priest.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes.
So
Because every Catholic
the whole gimmick.
priest-
Okay. let's talk about characters and powers in comics for a second. So the characters in this movie, the New Mutants, are primarily the ones from the original run from the 80s.
Yeah, most of the characters are actually characters
except for
from the
Magic,
actual
who was from, I believe, the second run of the New Mutants in the 90s.
But I mean, close enough, whatever.
But yeah, whatever. Most of them are the same. The only thing they've changed is their origins. They all have
And some of them have slightly
They
changed
have
powers,
different
but
and
mostly the
complex
same.
origins in the comics, but in this one they're all the same.
Yeah.
The ones whose powers they changed were Cannonball and Moonstar. Cannonball, they made him cooler because now he can do it
because
anytime.
originally
Before he
literally
could
was just
only
Sonic
do
the
it in the
Hedgehog.
air.
He
Before
was
he
just
could only
Sonic
do
the Hedgehog.
No. Before he could only do the ball thing in the air, he had to jump up and just like then go.
Yeah,
and
he was
fall
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Now he can just go and shoot really far, which is fine. That's more interesting anyway. But Moonstar in the comics, she could pull on your fears and stuff, but they were illusions.
Yeah.
In the movie, they're real.
She makes whatever
The
your
bear
worst nightmares
actually destroys the whole building,
Like,
which
And that's, like,
makes her a ginormous threat to everyone around her
Yeah.
at all times.
Because if someone's
Because
fear
she
was
does it
like,
accidentally,
And she
constantly.
can't control her powers
She
at
does
all.
it to herself.
Yeah.
see, here's the thing wrong with that is like if somebody had a fear of the world exploding, then everybody
The world
just
would
instantly
explode.
dies.
Yeah.
Or if somebody's fear was like that the universe like imploded on itself.
Also, she could kind of
you were
like
just happy.
like most characters with illusion powers in comic books,
But
she
they're
could
not-
kind of control it. Where she's like, if I'm gonna make a scary thing for this criminal, he's
Yeah.
only gonna go after
It
him.
doesn't act
This
on
time,
people's like.
when she makes a scary thing for a person,
It goes after
everyone.
Yeah.
Okay, but it
So
doesn't.
if
it
she's
doesn't-
fighting a villain,
Except the priest.
No.
The priest just disappeared.
Yeah.
if she's fighting a villain and his fear is getting attacked by crocodiles, and she makes a crocodile, that crocodile is gonna immediately turn around and go, "Oh, I'm gonna attack this other person
Yeah.
who's not the criminal."
The thing with it though, it doesn't attack people's like existential fears. It attacks like some kind of deep personal fear they have.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so with the priest is so weird because the priest is like evil and
Ex-
brands
ex-
brands
Patrick,
the little
explain
girl as a witch.
explain the priest.
The priest. Okay, so there's like this priest, and so
Well, explain why the priest was
So
like.
okay,
so
so
Wolf Girl was Catholic, and then she had these like powers and stuff. So the priest branded her with a W
'Cause
like,
she's a witch.
on her back because she's a witch.
because
Which is a
that's,
thing that the Catholic Church
that's
does
what
in
the-
2017.
Yeah, that's what the modern Catholic Church does right now to this
if
day.
you go do a magic trick in front of your local
Whoa, wait a
Catholic
minute,
priest,
wait. They're slightly different. Brand them! Like, imagine you go up to your local priest and you do, like, a card trick. They're like, oh my gosh, it's a witch! Throw them in a cage and burn them! Like, no, they haven't
That's
done that
not-
since the Salem witch
My
trials.
best friend did a card trick one time. He's gone. It's 2 years.
and the Irish government's just like, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, she's also Irish. And it doesn't really affect anything.
She's Irish in the comics. I think,
Yeah.
too. But okay, that's a different thing. Is half the characters in this have accents. The only ones who don't are the actual ethnic minorities.
Yeah.
The guy who they say is from Brazil is
Talks
just an
perfect
American.
English, yeah.
He's just an American. The girl from the Indian reservation
Again, like perfect
just
English.
normal.
Which, I mean, makes sense. She's
sounds
grew up in America.
sounds exactly like an American. No
Yeah.
accent, nothing at all.
And then
The
there's, like,
Irish
the
girl,
deep
the guy
Southern
from Kentucky, and who's the other one?
I feel
And
bad for
Magic
Kentuckians.
all have like really dumb sounding
Yeah,
accents.
well, Magic definitely grew up in America.
Yeah, because
She's
she
just-
was at that. She was in the institute where Mr. Sinister was keeping her.
He
Yeah,
really
so
overdoes
She just what
the
even
Southern
her accent was just like some weird mixture of things.
She was supposed to be German.
Yeah.
No, she's Russian.
Yeah, she has
She's Russian
Russian
because in the
accent.
comics she's Colossus' sister, but I think they were like
They just didn't talk about that, so she's just like randomly has a Russian accent.
There's Irish girl who's from Ireland, and then there's Cannonball, who's supposed to be this like deep southerner from Kentucky, and he's a coal miner. He talks like that for the whole movie.
talks
Come on, like baby. he
forgot where
And it's funny to me because that actor is a British person. He has
Yeah.
a British accent, and they were like, "Can you do a goofy Southern accent the whole time?"
My
It's like,
daddy gave me this.
No, I
Hey
can't.
guys, the dome's gone.
That's a real line.
He
When the
uses
force
his
field
powers
goes
to
down-
throw a rock real fast, and then it doesn't hit the dome, and he goes, "Hey guys, dome's gone," and that's it.
They play it so serious too. It's like yeah, that's a normal thing people would say. I don't see a problem.
People talk like this, right?
I don't know. I've
You
never
know
been.
what,
I've never been
Southerners-
further than New York, but I'm pretty sure this is how it's Southern.
You know, when I talk to my friends, I go, Hey there, Billy. How you doing?
Hey, you want to throw some rocks at a pickup truck? Maybe wrestle some bars
Us
later?
being from Texas would know this. No one talks
one
like
talks
that.
like that.
No one at all.
Some people have like a slight
I don't
southern
know what
accent.
I don't know what the thing is with the rest of the entire world that thinks Texas is still an 1800s old west cowboy town where everyone mines coal and shoots each other with
Yeah.
revolvers. But it's not. It's just a normal city.
What are you talking about? I went to my coal farm yesterday.
My daddy went out for milk 5 days ago.
He has a come back.
I know that's kind of unrelated to the situation.
So, just as to wrap this up.
No, we're not wrapping this
Oh,
up. I
we're
got
not?
more
Okay.
thoughts. All right, let's talk about the X-Men movies in general. Do you guys think this is the worst X-Men movie?
Yes.
No, Dark Phoenix was so
Oh.
much worse.
I
Patrick,
didn't
how many
see
of
Dark
these have you
Phoenix.
seen?
Just this one.
This was the only X-Men movie you've ever
Yeah,
seen.
set the bar real low.
All right, that's interesting. Okay, so here's the thing with the X-Men movies. They range from good to
They range from I
Dumpster.
could watch this maybe twice to
dumpster.
this ought to be burned.
Deadpool not related. They're not
Deadpool's
the
its own
same.
thing. Deadpool's great. We don't diss Deadpool.
You don't got problems with you, Deadpool. Ryan
Deadpool's
Reynolds, convince
A little-
Marvel to let you keep working.
a little too much mainstream now. He kind of ruined his own vibe. But other than that,
I don't think
Deadpool's
that's his
cool.
fault though. I
Deadpool's
think
fine.
that's just that he's
Yeah.
really cool and not people like him. But so probably the best X-Men movie is either X2 or Days of Future Past.
Yeah, and not the original cut, the rogue cut of Days of Future Past. The original cut doesn't make any sense.
Okay, but obviously in terms of worst X-Men movie, it's between this, Dark Phoenix, and X-Men Origins.
Yeah.
I think the problem with this one is that it was funny to watch in the theater, but I don't think if I watched it again I would laugh. I think I'd just be sad.
Yeah, it would just be
It
boring.
would just be
I'd be bored
It would
and
just be
sad.
so boring.
X-Men Origins was funny, bad, and if you watch it today, it's still funny because of how absurdly goofy it is.
Yeah.
Where there's a scene where Wolverine, with his poorly animated claws, is swiping out a ladder, and the ladder's falling as he's hitting
Yeah,
it with his
and
claws.
the person's trying to climb it as fast as it's falling.
There's a
It looks so stupid.
There's a comedic scene where he accidentally wrecks a bathroom.
Yeah, he and this is when he has his bone claws, which by no
No,
means
he has his metal claws in
or some I don't remember, but he accidentally activates his claws and he cuts a sink in half.
Yeah.
And it's spraying water, and he's bumbling around the bathroom, and there's
There's an old man.
there's
who's
some old guy who's "You all right in there?" and he's destroying the
He's like,
bathroom.
oh, I'm clumsy.
Yeah,
There's that part where Deadpool comes in and shoots lasers out of
and
his eyes.
swords come out of his arms full length katanas
They
that
go-
somehow fit in his arms.
So they go ching, 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 ching. See, if I watch that, that is what any quality that movie has is just from how absurdly dumb it is.
Bad it is, yeah.
Dark Phoenix was just this boring,
It was boring.
depressing slog.
And it was a disgrace to every character that was in the movie.
I only put this worse than Dark Phoenix because I think the cast is better of Dark Phoenix. I think people are better cast in that movie.
Yeah.
And I think the action it does have is much better.
The action is better,
That final
but it's
train,
also edited out of order.
that final train scene,
It's
it's
edited out of order.
it's not well edited,
Does mutants
and
even
it's
have
a
an
dumb
action
climax
scene?
to that
Oh,
movie.
yeah.
It's a dumb climax to that movie, and
That's
at
a
least
stretch.
it's characters using powers, and when it does look good, it looks pretty good.
It looks
In
looks cool. It looks
New Mutants, the final action scene
It looks really
is
bad.
Oh my god,
they
it's
punch
so
a bear
bad.
in the face.
It's not even cool.
It's literally
She
just
says
the
no.
whole first 10 minutes of the climax is just Magic by herself with her sword,
just
hitting
it,
just whacking
No,
the bear.
and her dragons flying around.
Like a freaking Kingdom Hearts final boss.
Yeah,
She's
wow.
just jumping up, whacking it 3 times, jumping up, whacking it 3
Yeah,
times.
it plays out like a video game
Yeah.
RPG.
While Wolf Girl is in the chapel just being demons can't come in churches, demons
Yeah.
can't come in churches.
And then the demon comes in because God isn't real, Patrick. That's the
That's the
real
moral of the story, guys.
That is my biggest thing. What was the point?
There wasn't.
It had no point.
There was no message.
The real point was to just set up a team to make
It
a
was
profitable franchise.
it was
out of
obviously intended to just introduce these characters for further
Yeah.
films. But there was no message.
it. No, it didn't.
No
go
one
anywhere.
learns anything. No one improves as a person.
No, they learned that fear bad.
They're not really friends because they don't really like each other.
They've only had 2 scenes together.
Yeah, I like how the message in the movie is don't have fear. Fear is evil. Stop it.
Yeah, they have 2 scenes
Suppress
together,
your
and
fear.
both of them
Yeah.
end in a fight. Anyways,
But speaking of romantic subplots, they're both underdeveloped.
they're both okay. Well,
There's only really one of them, but then another one is just kind of
There-
like introduced
the-
and just
the-
thrown
Oh my god,
out.
that one was so
The main
weird. Where they're in
romance-
a pool and then the girl.
It turns out she's
and that
not
was
real.
just his dream.
yeah, the main romance between the wolf girl and the Native American girl is like generally fine. They needed way more time on
Yeah.
screen for it to make any sense.
I was like, I didn't really understand.
It felt shoehorned in
Yeah.
there.
It felt, it was shoehorned in. It was put into the movie so they could put
Just
it
so that-
as like a BuzzFeed article where it's
They
like,
just needed
first-
a romantic subplot.
Yeah.
That's it. They just needed some kind of romantic subplot so that they could have a reason
And
for
they
those
were the
characters to
only
be friends.
they were the only 2 characters that were relatively
And it was
the
weird.
same age.
yeah.
well, it was weird because I didn't really like feel like they should have had a romantic subplot. They were only together because they were the only characters who weren't trying to kill each other.
I mean, there
whenever
was
they were on
that scene where they sneak out the vents into this field and
Yeah.
watch
The rain hit the force dome.
watch the dome and then like make out.
Also,
Yeah.
if the rain is never hitting that school, how is the grass green? No
They
one's
got
watering.
sprinklers.
No
Yeah,
one's
actually-
watering the
Wait,
grass.
how is it? Do they have like? How do they get water there?
Sprinklers.
How do they get food there?
The truck that delivers the food.
Who pays the electricity bill?
The sinister corporation.
Who cleans that pool that they have for no reason?
No,
that
but
only
like, so
exists?
yeah, there's the
have
main
a pool.
subplot between the 2 girls, which I mean, it could have worked. They just needed to
They
develop
just
it
needed
more,
more
and
time.
they didn't.
Yeah.
Oh my god. What?
Then there's like the other one, which has like one scene,
Of setup and
Of
then
setup-
another joke scene, and then that's it.
and then yeah, because okay, so the whole gimmick of that scene was that it was the guy's nightmare because his past partner, they imply he accidentally set on fire with his powers.
Yeah.
So he's making out with this girl in the pool. Keep in mind this is like his
No,
nightmare
this
vision thing.
is the girl who goes into like the weird
Yeah.
universe place.
So, but it's not really her.
It's
Okay,
an
they don't
illusion.
really make it clear whether or not it was her or whether it was a nightmare clone.
I know it wasn't her.
It was a
Remember
nightmare
because she
clone.
comes back and she doesn't. She's like, no, I wasn't there.
It was.
Yeah.
I think
But
the
she's
pur-
also crazy, so you don't really know. If
I
she's
think the
lying.
Yeah.
Purpose
Also, she
was-
can teleport.
I think
so.
the purpose was his fear was just in general burning any girl at all.
But he didn't even burn her though.
Yeah.
She just
just
disappears, and then a
disappears.
fire zombie comes out of the
No,
So I was
which
like-
of is the zombie
if
of his
they
old
would've-
Yeah,
life?
which is the zombie of his old
If they would
girlfriend.
have showed her catching on fire,
That scene would have made perfect
that makes
sense.
sense.
They should have.
But she
But
disappears,
she just disappeared.
and a completely unrelated fire zombie comes out that is
No.
implied to be his
And then-
No,
ex-girlfriend.
and
And
then
then
there's
he
like a
freaks-
hand that reaches out of the water. Is like, eh.
Oh, yeah, that scene was hilarious.
And then he freaks out and catches on fire.
And then the
just,
doctor comes in,
No, it stands at the edge of the pool and just like
and he's just screaming on fire, and then the alarms go off, and the
And
doctor,
then the doctor
runs in,
comes in,
picks up a
grabs
broom
him-
off the wall, pokes him lightly, just like taps him with the broom, and he stumbles and falls in.
and the broom's just sitting there off to the side, conveniently for her.
And then the broom just like teleports back onto the wall
Yep.
because continuity.
Yeah.
that was a scene.
There was also the puppet. The puppet was dumb.
Oh.
No, it
Magic
was
Stone.
no, it was like because her.
The and then it turns out the dragon was real,
Yeah, which made even less
and
sense.
it was only there for like a scene, and then just goes away.
And doesn't come back as a puppet. He's just gone.
Also-
Just gone.
Also, her like backstory.
Oh yeah,
is
just being
so
a murderer.
Weird.
I've killed men like you.
I've killed 18 dudes.
No,
And
but
again,
like, what
Okay.
do the like weird faceless guys represent? Like, was there just
Those
weird
are-
they were
faceless
just
guys
there for
that
them to
attacked
punch.
her?
They looked like no face.
No, the-
from
They
the
were there
movie.
for them to punch.
they were
from their-
supposed to be like the embodiment of the kids that like made fun of her when she was little or whatever.
And
That was
then
what
they,
were
and then
supposed
there's
to
just
be.
a bunch of them
Adult
so they can
face?
fight something at the end.
Yeah, they were just the faceless
Yeah.
monsters for them to fight.
So that way in the trailer they could go, oh look, spooky.
look, something that looks like a horror movie thing.
It's
That way we
Waluigi
can
with
tell
a
you
face
what it
mask
is.
and no
Freaking-
eyes.
It's basically just
Yeah.
It just looks like.
a spooky tall
The
man.
first
They just
time
look like Slenderman but with mouths. That's
Yeah.
literally what they were.
Smiles.
They were just Slenderman with mouths. That's it.
Yep, literally just that.
Yeah. So
The first time it came on screen was so dumb. It was like,
Oh yeah.
the biggest problem with this movie is the director.
Yeah.
He's
It was- that's
he
very
was a
clearly
poor
the problem.
he was a poor choice for this.
He wrote it too.
The script is terrible.
It feels like it was written by
It's-
Tommy Wiseau.
No. The dialogue is not the main problem. It's the structure. It's so poorly formatted.
It's all the
It
things
is
are
just
wrong.
it was just him just writing things down, things happening, they're not. They don't really go anywhere. Nothing makes sense. The characters are just like they just sit there and tell you their backstory.
They just do a thing
and then move on.
Yeah.
And then at the very end, it's just you can tell he just wrote like magic hits bear with sword, and it's like
Yeah.
So
magic attacks bear with dragon.
they all fight
puppet.
bear, and then it ends.
Yeah.
It literally just ends with them they kill the bear and then they just walk
I
away.
forgot the
Yeah.
very important
Also-
line. No.
There's no like real
Bad
genre describing what this is because it's like a teen drama,
never-
horror, gore.
It never
never
commits
decides
to a
what it
single
wants to
genre.
be, yeah.
Yeah. Because it was like we want to make a horror movie, but we don't think anyone will see a horror movie.
So we also wanted to.
we need to make it an action movie, but we don't want to make it too much of an action movie because
Yeah.
we don't want to disappoint the people who thought it was a horror
We
movie.
also want to make it a teen comedy romance.
But then
movie.
it can't be a horror movie and an action movie at the same time,
Yeah.
so it's just got to be a little bit of that. And I say it's pretty tonally consistent, except
totally
for
consistently with no tone.
until that one scene where they just start playing like the 80s music.
Yeah, the
And
dance.
they start
montage.
having a dance montage, and it's like 30 seconds long, and it's out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And you're just like, what?
Why?
They don't like each other. They're not friends.
Why are
They
you
don't like
doing
being
this?
here.
The cold
I think
guy
we
and
can
the other
with
guy.
confidence say that nobody ever will see this movie twice.
Okay, so
No.
in terms of box office, it made $7 million opening
Yeah,
weekend.
that's more like
Which,
it.
okay, to be fair,
We were the only people
be
who saw opening day.
to be fair, California, New York, there's still a lot of theaters that are closed. It's
Yeah.
not entirely its fault, but
But you
they
can stream it.
they
too,
have
right?
now report.
No.
What?
You can,
I don't think so.
You can.
Oh, maybe that's
It's
what
only in
that's-
theaters, but they will never ever tell us what the budget for this was. They will never.
It says 100 million.
Really?
Yeah.
Or according to what?
According to the New Mutants page, when you Google it, it says 100 million.
It was not worth that.
Okay, cool. I've
It
seen
wasn't
consistent
worth a
reports where
penny.
They had one set. Or two sets. They had the village,
and
and
the
then they
church.
had the...
No, and their cast
And
was
then
like
they-
Oh
six
yeah, I
people.
hope you like sitting in the same place forever.
The
Because
whole
they never, ever
movie
go anywhere.
takes place in the same place.
There's a hospital. There's like a hospital bedroom. There's their cells, and there's a church, and that's it.
So
That's the whole
okay.
movie.
I'm looking
And
at
a
it.
pool, but that's like one scene.
Some sources say 67, some say 100 million. But we'll never.
67 sounds more like it.
Yeah.
They'll never ever tell us what
Yeah.
the budget for this was.
They'll never give
They
us
will
the
hide
numbers.
that forever. But it's like this is such what a terrible note for this franchise to go out.
Yeah.
The sad part is there are good X-Men movies, and there were directors and writers on this franchise that cared,
Yeah.
and they tried, and then Fox and Bryan Singer and Josh Boone took a big steaming dump all over it
You know,
and ruined it for everyone.
hopefully when Disney starts to reboot the
It'll
franchise,
get better.
it will be good.